Ryan sat alone in his small spaceship checking the controls. He was on his way to a far-off station, carrying spare engine parts and some food supplies. His life was simple. Fixing broken things made sense to him. People did not. He looked out the window and saw bright colors moving across space. A solar storm was coming. Before he could react, the ship shook. Lights flickered, sparks flew from the control panel. He tried to steady the ship, but nothing worked. The storm pushed his ship like a leaf in the wind. Alarms rang all around him. The last thing Ryan saw was a green-blue planet growing bigger on the screen. Then everything went dark. When he woke up, he was lying on soft grass near a quiet lake. A purple sky stretched above, and strange, tall trees stood nearby. The air smelled sweet. His head hurt, and he couldn't remember what happened after the crash. Not far from him, a young alien woman stood still, watching him. She had a soft, natural beauty, smooth skin like warm bronze, and long silver hair that shone in the sunlight. Her eyes were calm and curious. She had seen his ship fall from the sky, while others in her city feared it. She followed the signal and found him alone and injured. She felt something strange in her heart when she saw him, something quiet but strong. She sat beside him, brushed some leaves from his arm, and watched his chest rise and fall. He looked peaceful. She remembered the old stories from her childhood, the ones her grandmother told her. Stories of a traveler from the stars who would come during a time of silence and change everything. Looking at Ryan, she whispered softly in her language, "You're the one." Ryan moved slightly, but did not wake up. She stood and called her, guard using a small crystal device. Within moments, a tall man named Torin arrived. He looked at the sleeping human with concern. "Is he dangerous?" Torin asked. Alira shook her head. "No, he is hurt. He needs help." Torin nodded. "Then we must take him to the palace. The healers will know what to do." Gently, they lifted Ryan onto a floating platform and moved through the forest. Creatures peeked from behind trees, curious but quiet. The path led them to a glowing city hidden under a dome of light. Towers made of crystal reached toward the sky. Rivers ran between them like threads of silver. Alira's people, the Velmarans, had lived here for thousands of years. Their world was full of color, music, and energy. But in recent times, the energy had started to fade. The light in their city grew weaker each season. No one knew why. When they entered the palace, Ryan was placed in a soft chamber with walls that changed color with sound. A healer checked his head and wrapped his arm gently. Alira stayed nearby, watching him from the doorway. Later that night, as the sky turned deep violet, Alira returned to the room. The guards had gone. The air was quiet. Ryan still slept peacefully. His face looked calm, but there was something behind his expression, a deep feeling of being lost. She sat beside him and whispered again, this time in the common tongue, "You're the one." Her voice was light, almost like the wind. She didn't know if he heard her, but her heart felt full. And for the first time in years, she felt hope. Back in the outer city, a few leaders talked about the stranger. Some wanted to keep him under watch. Others feared he had brought danger with him, but Alira said nothing. She would wait. She believed the old stories for the first time in her life. The next morning, Ryan slowly opened his eyes. The light in. The chamber changed to soft gold. He sat up carefully, surprised by the warmth of the bed and the smooth stone floor beneath. He looked around, confused. Before he could move, the door opened, and Alira stepped in. She smiled gently. "You are safe," she said. "You are on Velmara." Ryan blinked. "What happened? Your ship crashed. I found you near the lake. You were hurt, but not badly." Ryan rubbed his forehead. "Thank you. I think I should leave as soon as I fix my ship." Alira nodded slowly. Yes, but rest first. Your ship is being kept safe. He looked at her closely. Her presence was calm, almost peaceful. Something about her voice made him feel like he was still dreaming. My name is Ryan, he said. She smiled again. I am Alira. Outside the chamber, Torin stood with his arms crossed. He didn't trust the human yet, but he trusted Alira, and if she believed in this stranger, then he would protect him until the truth became clear. Ryan lay back down, still, unsure where he was or why she had helped him. But deep inside, something told him this was no normal accident, and this was no normal world. As he closed his eyes again, the same strange melody played softly through the walls, a sound like memory, and light calling from deep within the planet, and far away, something ancient began to wake up. Ryan woke again as soft light filled the chamber. The walls shifted from pale blue to warm orange, matching the new day. He sat up slowly and stretched his arms. His body still felt sore, but the pain had lessened. The air smelled fresh, like sweet fruit and rain. A soft humming sound came from the walls. It was gentle, like a lullaby. He had never heard music that felt so alive. It moved through the air like a breeze. The door opened with a quiet whisper. Princess Alira entered with a small tray in her hands. On it was a bowl of clear fruit pieces and a golden drink. She smiled kindly as she placed it near his bed. You are feeling better? She said. Yes, Ryan answered. Thank you for taking care of me. You are welcome. The healers say you just need rest. Your body is strong. Ryan picked up a piece of fruit and tasted it. It was cool and sweet. He looked around the room again, still surprised by everything. This place is beautiful, he said. It is our home, Alira replied, but it is not as strong as it once was. What do you mean? She paused for a moment, as if choosing her words carefully. Our world is changing. Slowly, the lights fade. The energy that once flowed through Velmara grows weaker each year. We do not know why. Ryan looked thoughtful. I saw strange lights in the sky before I crashed. Maybe something is wrong out there too. Alira nodded. Perhaps you were meant to see it. Ryan raised his eyebrows. What do you mean? She gave him a gentle smile. There is an old story among my people. It says that one day, a traveler from the stars will come to Velmara when our world grows silent. This traveler will bring change. Some believe it is only a tale. Others believe it is true. Ryan laughed softly. You think I am that traveler? I don't know. But you came from the sky when we needed help. That means something. Ryan finished the fruit in silence. He did not believe in old stories, but something about this place made him feel different. The crash, the strange energy, the soft music in the walls, nothing felt random. Later that day, Alira led Ryan outside for a walk. The palace garden was filled with glowing flowers and floating leaves that moved without wind. Small insects hummed softly, and birds with silver feathers sang in low tones. As they walked, Alira pointed to a crystal tower in the distance. That is the memory spire. It holds the thoughts of our ancestors. The crystals there keep the knowledge of those who came before us. Can anyone enter? Ryan asked. Only those the crystals accept, Alira said. They continued walking until they reached a quiet courtyard. A group of children were playing, with small floating stones that danced in the air. An old man watched them with a kind smile. When he saw Alira, he bowed his head. Princess, he said, is this the visitor from the stars? Alira nodded. This is Ryan. He is still healing. The old man looked at Ryan and said, Then may your heart heal with the planet. Both are important. Ryan gave a small nod, unsure how to reply. Everyone here seemed to believe he was special, but he still felt like a simple mechanic who just got lucky during a crash. That evening, Ryan asked to see his ship. Alira agreed and took him to a chamber below the palace. His small ship had been placed on a smooth platform surrounded by glowing tools. It looked damaged but not beyond repair. Ryan walked around it, touching the surface gently. One wing was bent, and the engine had burn marks. The signal antenna was missing. "I can fix this," he said, "but it will take time." Alira watched him carefully. "And when you fix it, will you leave?" Ryan paused. "Maybe. I need to return home. But I also want to understand what happened. That storm was not normal." She nodded. "The sky has not been normal for many seasons." Ryan stepped closer to the ship's control panel. It was offline, but something pulsed faintly inside. He tapped the screen, and for a moment, a strange signal appeared. It was the same sound he had heard, faintly while sleeping, soft, musical, like the voice of the planet itself. He looked at Alira. "Do you hear that?" She closed her eyes and listened. "Yes. That sound is from the deep places, places our people no longer visit. The energy is there, but it is sleeping." Ryan felt a chill. What if the signal is a message? Alira's eyes opened slowly. "Then you may be the one to answer it." Back in the chamber, Ryan lay down again, but sleep did not come easily. His mind was full of questions. Why had he really crashed here? What was the strange signal? Could he fix the energy problem of a world he barely knew? The soft music returned, flowing through the walls like water. This time, it was clearer. It was not just sound. It felt like a voice trying to speak without words. He sat up, listening closely. Something deep within the planet was calling. Not in fear, not in pain, but in hope. Ryan woke early the next day. The sky outside his window had changed to a deep shade of gold. Soft wind moved through the garden, and the floating leaves glowed faintly in the morning light. He had not slept much. His mind was filled with thoughts about the strange signal he heard in his ship. It had not come from his own system. It came from somewhere else, deep below the ground, or maybe from the sky. He got dressed and left the room. Alira was waiting in the hall. She smiled as he stepped out. "You rise early?" she said. "I couldn't sleep," Ryan answered. "I kept thinking about that sound. I want to check my ship again." Alira nodded. "Come, I will take you." They walked together down the curved steps of the palace. The walls glowed softly with every step. It was quiet, peaceful, yet something deep in the ground felt awake now, like a sleeping giant was turning in its bed. When they entered the ship chamber, Ryan went straight to the control panel. He connected a small scanner from his belt and ran a check. The signal appeared again. It was faint, but real. Alira stood beside him. "Does it speak to you again?" "Yes. The pattern is the same as last night. I think it's repeating, almost like a message." She looked at the screen and tilted her head. "The shape of the sound, it looks like the old symbols." "What? Symbols?" She walked to the wall and pressed her hand against a smooth panel. A part of the wall shifted, revealing a narrow tunnel hidden behind it. "This place was built long ago," she said. "There are rooms even I have not seen. But some paths lead to where the old power flows." Ryan followed her into the tunnel. It was dark at first, but as they moved forward, soft lights appeared along the walls. The air felt cooler. A soft hum grew stronger with every step. After a few turns, they entered a round chamber. The walls were covered in crystal tiles, each one glowing with a soft blue light. In the center stood a thin column of light rising from the floor to the ceiling. Alira stepped forward and placed her palm on one of the crystals. It lit up brighter, and then a pattern appeared, a circle with a line through it, then a star, and then a wave. Ryan stared. That's the same pattern I saw in my ship. Exactly the same. Alira nodded. These are the old signs. They once guided our people to build the city. Now they are mostly forgotten. Why would my ship pick up something like this? Ryan asked. Because the signal is still alive, she answered. Even if we stopped listening. Ryan walked around the chamber. He reached out to touch one of the glowing walls. As his hand moved closer, the light pulsed, like it could feel him. Suddenly, a new sound filled the room. Soft but clear, like a voice without words. Ryan turned to Alira. It's stronger here, he said. Whatever this place is, it's connected to the signal. Alira looked at the center of the chamber. This is one of the old control rooms. A long time ago, the energy of Velmara flowed through these. But something changed. The flow was blocked. No one knows why. Ryan walked to the central column. He placed his hand near it, not touching, just close. The column glowed brighter. A pattern of lights climbed up the surface. Then a low sound echoed through the room, the same melody he had heard in his sleep. Alira's eyes widened. It reacts to you. Ryan pulled his hand back slowly. Maybe it remembers my ship systems. Or maybe it's something else. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Alira said, We need to go to the memory spire. Ryan followed her back through the tunnels and across the garden paths. The memory spire stood tall and still, shining under the sunlight. It was made of clear stone, smooth as glass, and it hummed gently as the wind touched it. Inside, the air was quiet and cool. Crystals of all sizes lined the walls. Each one held the memory of a time, a person, or an event. They were placed in perfect order, like pages in a giant book. An elder stood near the center, wearing robes that shimmered like water. He looked at Alira and gave a slow nod. You wish to ask the spire, he said. Yes, she answered. The traveler has heard. The deep signal. We need to see what the past knows. The elder turned and led them to a wide circle made of light. Ryan stepped onto it with Alira beside him. The crystals above began to glow. A soft voice filled the room. Request received. Accessing memory paths. Then pictures formed in the air, moving images of old times. Builders shaping the city with sound and light. Towers rising with songs, rivers flowing with blue fire. Then suddenly, the pictures grew dark. A shadow passed through the sky. The rivers stopped glowing. The song faded, and then came an image of a small ship crashing, not in fire, but in light. A traveler stepped out looking confused, just like Ryan had done. Ryan stared at the vision. Is that me? No, the elder said. That was long ago, but he came the same way. And he heard the signal too. What happened to him? Ryan asked. The elder looked at the last crystal. He disappeared into the deep places, and the flow of power never returned. Ryan stood quietly, thinking hard. Alira turned to him. This time can be different. Ryan nodded slowly. Then I need to go deeper, to where the signal starts. She looked at him with calm eyes. Then I will go with you. Ryan stood near the entrance of the old tunnels, holding a small scanner from his ship. It blinked with soft green lights, showing that the signal from below was getting stronger. Alira walked beside him, holding a glowing crystal that lit their path. Her long robe moved gently as they stepped forward into the earth. The tunnel was quiet except for the soft hum in the walls. The sound was the same music Ryan had heard since his first night on Velmara, but now it was louder and closer. It was not just a sound anymore. It felt like a call. Where does this lead? Ryan asked as they turned left. Alira looked ahead. To a place few have seen. It is called the Chamber of Voices. Our people believe it holds the oldest memories of Velmara. Not just voices from the past, but the voice of the world itself. Has anyone been there recently? No. The entrance was sealed long ago. The energy faded, and the way was forgotten. But I read about it in the scrolls, and now the signal has returned. I think it wants to be found. As they moved deeper, the stone around them changed. Crystals in the walls grew brighter, showing patterns that pulsed with slow rhythm. Some patterns matched the signal in Ryan's scanner. Others were unfamiliar. They reached a large stone door covered in symbols. Alira stepped forward and placed her hand on the surface. The crystal in her palm glowed brighter, and the symbols began to shift. The door opened slowly, revealing a wide, circular chamber with high walls made of layered crystal. In the center stood a low platform, and above it floated a single crystal that shined like a star. Ryan stepped inside. The air was warmer here. A soft breeze moved in circles, though there were no openings. "This place feels alive," Ryan said. "It is," Alira replied. "The Chamber of Voices is not just stone. It listens. It remembers." As they stepped closer to the floating crystal, it began to glow brighter. Then a voice filled the room. It was not loud or sharp. It was smooth and calm, like water flowing over stone. "Traveler," the voice said, "you have returned." Ryan looked around, but there was no one else. "Did you hear that?" he asked. Alira nodded. "Yes, it speaks to you." "Who are you?" Ryan asked the voice. "We are the memory of Velmara," the voice said. "We watched the light grow, then fade. We waited for the one who could hear the deep song." Alira stepped forward. "Why did the energy stop? Why did our world begin to fade?" "The source was closed," the voice answered. "The balance was broken by fear. Long ago, the leaders feared a great change. They shut the doors to the heart of the world. The flow of power slowed. The song became a whisper." Ryan looked at the scanner. The signal was now full and strong. "His ship's system had only caught the edge of it. Here in the chamber it was complete." "Can we open the source again?" Ryan asked. "You must find the 3 gates," the voice replied. "One is below this chamber. One lies in the forest where the light bends. The last is near the mountain of glass. Only when all 3 are touched by the signal can the flow return." Ryan looked at Alira. "Do you know where these places are?" "I know the forest," she said, "and I have seen the mountain in my dreams. But I have never heard of a gate below this chamber." The voice spoke again. "The first gate waits now. Touch the crystal and give it the signal you carry." Ryan stepped forward. He pulled the scanner from his belt and placed it near the floating crystal. The lights on both objects pulsed together. A low sound filled the chamber, like the deep hum of a great engine waking up after sleep. The crystal flashed once. Then, a line of light spread across the floor, forming a new path that led behind the chamber wall. "The way to the gate is open," the voice said. "Go now, but be careful. The balance is not only light. There is still shadow. Ryan and—" Alira followed the new path. The tunnel beyond was narrow and cold. Strange symbols marked the walls, glowing dimly as they passed. The hum was stronger here, and Ryan could feel a soft vibration in the floor. They reached a small chamber. In the center stood a large, circular stone, covered in dust. Ryan brushed it clean and found an opening shaped like the scanner. He placed it inside. The stone lit up. Energy moved through it like water. Then, a soft burst of light rose from the floor and shot upward through the rock above. "It worked," Alira said. "The first gate is active." Ryan pulled the scanner back. 2 more to go." As they made their way back to the surface, Alira looked at Ryan with new eyes. "You do not belong to this world," she said, "but this world listens to you." "I don't understand why," Ryan said. "I'm not special. I fix things. That's all. Alira smiled gently. Sometimes fixing things is the most special gift of all. They stepped out of the tunnel into the evening light. The palace lights burned a little brighter now. The wind moved a little stronger. Something had changed. From a nearby tower, Torin watched them return. He said nothing, but his hand rested near the crystal blade on his belt. He had seen what happened. He had felt the change, and while he trusted the princess, he was not sure about the traveler. In the sky above, a small light blinked in the darkness. It was not a star. It moved slowly, watching, waiting. Far away, deep under the ground, another signal began to wake. The sun rose gently over Velmara, painting the sky in orange and silver. The wind moved through the tall trees outside the palace, carrying the soft sound of the morning song, a melody that had once filled every corner of the world, but now sounded thin and weak. Ryan stood at the edge of the garden checking the scanner. After activating the first gate, the signal had changed. It was stronger, clearer. 2 gates still remained. One was in the forest where the light bent. The other was near the mountain of glass. Alira walked toward him, holding 2 cloaks and a small bag of supplies. Her face was calm, but her eyes were focused. "We should leave soon," she said. "The forest path is not easy. It shifts with the light, and many lose their way." Ryan nodded. "We'll follow the signal. The scanner will guide us." Torin appeared from behind a tree. He had been watching since sunrise. His voice was firm. "You should not go alone. Let me come with you." Alira looked at him with soft understanding. "You are always welcome, Torin." Torin stepped forward and gave Ryan a short nod. "If anything happens, I will keep her safe." Ryan said nothing, but he understood. Torin did not trust him fully, and maybe he was right to be careful. They were entering unknown parts of the world. The 3 of them left the city by foot, moving through the outer lands of Velmara. The buildings faded behind them. The trees grew taller. The light began to shift, changing direction even when the sun stayed still. This was the forest of the bending light, Alira explained as they walked. The forest reacts to thoughts. If you fear, it hides the path. If you are calm, it shows the way. Ryan stayed close to her, letting the scanner beep softly in his hand. The signal was pulling them forward. Hours passed. The wind whispered through the branches, carrying old sounds that were not quite words. They saw lights in the trees, small orbs that floated just above the ground. Torin kept his hand near his blade, but nothing attacked. The forest was not angry. It was only watching. Suddenly, the scanner beeped faster. Ryan looked around. A narrow path opened to the left, where light poured through a line of trees. Alira stepped forward. "It's here," she said. They followed the path until they reached a wide clearing. In the center stood a ring of stones covered in moss. A glowing crystal floated above the ground, spinning slowly. It looked like the one they had seen in the Chamber of Voices. Ryan stepped forward and pulled the scanner from his belt. He held it near the crystal. The signal connected instantly. A wave of soft blue light spread across the clearing. The ground beneath their feet vibrated gently. Then the crystal spoke. It did not use words, only tones. But the tones had meaning. They told a story. A long time ago, Velmara was part of a larger network of worlds. Energy flowed between them like a river. The 3 gates kept the balance strong. But one day, fear grew among the leaders. They feared outsiders would take control. So they sealed the gates. The energy fell silent. The light around the stone rose into the sky, forming a line of glowing symbols. Ryan's scanner saved the pattern. The second gate was now active. Torin looked around, alert. "We should move. I feel like something is watching." They turned to leave, but a new sound came from the sky, a distant hum, soft but growing. Ryan looked up and saw a shadow moving among the clouds. A ship, not from Velmara. He pointed. "That's not from your people, is it?" Alira narrowed her eyes. "No, we have no ships in the air today." Torin stepped in front of them. "We return now, quickly." They moved fast through the forest. The light shifted behind them, hiding their trail. When they reached the open fields, the sky was darker than before. The ship was now hovering in the upper clouds. No signals came from it, no calls. It was silent, watching. Back at the palace, the royal council gathered. Alira stood before them, telling what they had seen. One elder asked, "Why would a ship from another world appear now?" Ryan stepped forward. "The signal has grown stronger. If I could find it, others can too. They might want the energy source." Another elder shook his head. "We have not seen outsiders in many years. Why now?" "Because the gates are waking up," Ryan said. "They may want to stop us, or steal the flow before it is restored." Torin added, "We should prepare our shields and guard the mountain." "Path. The last gate must be protected," Alira agreed. "We will go to the mountain of glass at first light." That night, Ryan returned to his ship for more tools. As he worked inside the control room, the soft hum returned. But it was different now. A new layer had appeared in the signal, a voice behind the music. He listened carefully. The voice was not from Velmara. It was artificial, sharp, and cold. A hidden message. Someone else had placed their own signal inside. The energy flow. A copy. A shadow. Ryan stood up and looked toward the sky. The ship above was not just watching. It was listening. It was learning. He stepped out of his ship and walked to the quiet garden. Alira was waiting there under the silver tree, her eyes looking at the stars. Ryan sat beside her. "There's something I need to tell you," he said. "I think someone is trying to use the energy for themselves. That ship above us, it's not friendly." Alira nodded. "I felt it too, like a storm waiting to begin." "We have to reach the last gate before they do," Ryan said. "And we'll need help." She looked at him and spoke softly. "Then we go together, no matter what we face." The tree above them glowed brighter. The wind carried the sound of the deep song once again. Far beyond the stars, a machine counted down, in silence. It had waited many years for this moment. Now it would begin. The morning light touched the silver roofs of Velmara. The air felt different. The soft hum in the wind was no longer just a sound. It was now a warning. Ryan stood at the edge of the landing tower, watching the sky. The unknown ship still floated, above the clouds. It had not moved closer, but it had not left either. Its silence was louder than words. He turned as footsteps approached. Alira came with a calm face, but her eyes held worry. "The council is unsure," she said. "Some believe we should wait. Others want to hide." "What do you want?" Ryan asked. "I want to finish what we started," she replied. "The last gate must be reached. If we do nothing, Velmara will fade." Torin joined them a moment later. His armor was dark and light, made for travel. He carried a small energy blade at his side and a pouch of crystal tools. "I'm ready," he said. "But we must move quickly. I do not trust that ship." Alira gave a short nod. "Then we leave now." They left the city by the south path. The road to the mountain of glass was steep and cold. The air grew thinner as they climbed. Snowflakes floated down, soft and slow. The ground was quiet under their boots. The scanner in Ryan's hand beeped gently, guiding the way. The signal from the last gate was strong, but deeper than the others. It felt older, heavier. Hours passed as they walked. The mountain rose like a frozen wave in front of them, its surface shining like clear ice. When they reached the top, the scanner blinked with new colors. A shape began to form under the snow. a large circle made of smooth black stone. "It's here," Ryan said. They cleared the snow from the circle. In the center was a raised platform. A crystal shaped like a flame floated above it. "This is different," Alira said. "It feels awake." Ryan stepped forward and placed the scanner near the crystal. The signal connected. A deep vibration moved through the ground. Then the crystal turned gold, and the wind stopped. From the mountain edge, they saw it. A pulse of light rising into the sky, joining the other two. A line connected all three gates. "It's working," Ryan said. "The flow is returning." But before he could say more, Torin raised his hand. "Look," he said. A second light rose into the sky from a new point. It was not soft or natural. It was sharp and red. "They're sending a copy," Ryan said. "That ship is trying to override." "The signal!" Alira stepped back. "If their signal reaches the core first, they will control the energy. Not us." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "We can still stop it. The central source is below Velmara. It's called the Heart. If we reach it, before their signal does, we can guide the full energy flow. If they reach it first, they might lock it forever." "Then we must go now," Alira said. They hurried down the mountain. Snow turned to rain as they reached lower ground. The sky darkened. The red signal spread across the clouds like a net. When they returned to the palace, the council was already in panic. Many had seen the red light and feared an attack. Ryan stepped forward and spoke calmly. "There's no time for debate. The final path leads to the heart. It lies deep under the old riverbed. I saw the map in the Chamber of Voices." An elder asked, "What if it's a trap? What if the outsider brought this danger?" Torin answered firmly. "I was there. He didn't bring it. He's trying to stop it." The room fell silent. Alira stood beside Ryan and spoke to all. "We must act now. I will go with him. We will stop the signal. If we wait, our world may fall." With the council's approval, Ryan, Alira, and Torin made their way to the old river path. The scanner led them to a stone gate hidden under roots and earth. It opened with a soft glow, and they stepped inside. The path was dark and long. Strange lights moved along the walls, showing shapes that looked like stars. The air was warm here, and the hum grew louder. At the end of the tunnel, they entered a wide chamber. In the center floated a giant crystal, tall as a tower, glowing, in blue and white. This was the heart of Velmara. The crystal pulsed slowly. The three gate signals were already linked to it, but a red thread of light was also climbing up its side, trying to wrap around it. "We have to block it," Ryan said. "If that red signal touches the core, everything will change." Alira stepped forward. She placed her hands on a smaller crystal near the base. A soft light formed under her fingers. "The core listens to song," she said. "Our people shaped it with music." "Then sing," Ryan said. "Let it hear your voice." Alira began to sing, slowly and gently. The song rose like wind, echoing through the chamber. The red signal paused for a moment, like it was confused. Ryan opened his scanner and sent a pulse from all three gates. The blue light grew stronger, pushing the red light back. Torin watched the entrance carefully, ready in case the enemy ship sent someone below. The red signal pushed again, faster this time. Alira sang louder. Ryan added more power to the scanner. Lights flashed across the chamber walls. Then, the crystal in the center began to spin slowly. A deep sound filled the room, not angry, not afraid. Alive. The red signal broke. It shattered like glass and vanished. The core was awake. The light filled the chamber. Warmth spread through the ground. Outside, the sky cleared. The soft song returned to the wind. Ryan stepped back and looked at the glowing crystal. He felt tired but peaceful. "You did it," Alira said. "No." Ryan replied. We did it. Above the palace, the strange ship turned slowly and left the sky. It had lost its chance. Back in the city, the people looked up and saw the sky full of color again. The energy was returning. That night, Ryan sat quietly in the garden. The stars shined brighter now. Alira sat beside him, watching him in silence. After a while, she leaned closer and whispered, "You're the one." Ryan looked at her. He didn't speak. He only smiled. The city of Velmara woke slowly under a sky painted with soft pink and gold. The air was fresh and filled with new energy. The soft hum that had once been a whisper was now a steady song that moved through the streets and forests like a gentle breeze. Rian stood on a high balcony of the palace, looking out over the city. The towers of crystal sparkled in the sunlight. Rivers of light flowed through the streets, carrying warmth and life. People below moved with light steps and bright faces. The energy that had faded was now growing strong again. Alira joined him quietly. She stood close, her silver hair catching the light. Her eyes held a new hope, a hope that had returned with the heart of their world. "You have changed everything," she said softly. Ryan shook his head. "We did this together," she smiled. "Maybe, but you are the one who answered the call." He looked at her and then down at his hands. He still felt like a simple man, someone who fixed things and kept going. But now he understood something new. His journey was not just about survival, it was about connection, trust, and hope. The Royal Council had gathered earlier to share the news. The elders spoke of a new era, one where the energy would grow, and Velmara would thrive once more. The gates were open. The heart was awake. The song of the world was alive. Ryan knew their work was not finished. The energy had to be cared for. The people needed to learn how to listen and protect it, and he had to find a way to return home. But for now, he stayed. Days passed like gentle waves. Ryan and Alira spent time exploring the city together. They walked in the glowing gardens, talked with the elders, and learned more about the history of Velmara. She taught him the old songs, the ones that made the crystals shine. He shared stories from his world, simple stories about machines and stars. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Alira brought Rian to a quiet hill outside the city. The stars above were bright and clear. The soft song of Velmara flowed around them. She looked at him and said, "Now that the world wakes, there are new paths. You can go home if you wish." Ryan looked up at the sky. His ship was ready, the repairs were done. The storm that had brought him here was gone. "I want to," he said. "But not yet. I want to understand more, to help this world." Alira smiled and took his hand. "Then stay with me a while. There is much to do." Ryan squeezed her hand gently. For the first time, he felt he belonged somewhere other than the cold stars. The days grew brighter. The city flourished. People gathered in the plazas to sing and celebrate. The rivers of light flowed faster, and new life bloomed everywhere. But even in peace, Rian remembered the silence that had come before. He knew challenges might return. The strange ship had left, but others could come. The balance between light and shadow was delicate. One night, under the glow of the moons, Ryan and Alira sat quietly. She whispered again, "You're the one." He smiled and nodded. "Maybe I am." They looked up at the stars, feeling the pulse of Velmara beneath their feet. The traveler from the stars had found a new home, and the alien princess had found hope in his eyes. Together they faced the new dawn, a future bright with possibility and song.